I searched in the FBI vault white supremacy, and this is the first document I clicked on, and it's from April 28th, 1989. So don't come at me. This is at the FBI vault. The following addresses information relating to the concept of Christian identity, a religious doctrine that is a major factor within the ultra-right movement in the United States today. This is 1989. Christian identity is an ideology that combines religious concepts with elements of racism. The proponents of Christian identity often quote and provide explanations for biblical passages. However, these explanations have a racist slant. The advocates of Christian identity often cite the Bible to support their anti-Black and anti-Semitic beliefs. The Jews, according to these beliefs, are the enemies of God and natural adversaries of the white race, the chosen race of God. Blacks and other non-whites are usually regarded as unequal to whites. Usually? Yeah. Christian identity concerns the rise of white Christian nations. It seeks to discover a national as well as a racial identity for white Christians by telling them who they are and where they come from. Oh, this gets rich. Many Christian identity beliefs are rooted in a 19th century British movement, British Israelism or Anglo-Israelism. This concept claims that Anglo-Saxons and others are the descendants of the biblical Israelites and that England is the true Israel. Under Christian identity, these concepts were changed to the view of the United States as the true Israel. To advocates of Christian identity, the Bible is a history of the white race. One aspect of Christian identity is its interpretation of the original origin of the white race. To the advocates of Christian identity, the Bible is a history of the white race. It is taught that Adam and Eve were the first white people from whom all other white races descended. Another Christian identity teaching is that Adam and Eve were created only after all other races and people existed on earth. These other races, the races of color such as blacks, Asians, and Latinos, were not, according to some interpretations, created directly by God. Rather, they developed through a lengthy process of evolution originating from the ashes of the earth, the residue from the earth's creation. Because the white race is God's chosen race, only whites have immortal souls, and or all others are eternally damned and cannot obtain salvation. Other interpretations created Adam and Eve and that blacks and whites were the only original people that existed. The blacks had a specific purpose on earth, that is to be servants to whites. Furthermore, it is concluded that all other races are the result of inbreeding between blacks and whites. Oh my God! You guys really need to take your religion back, because according to Christian identity, the Jews are the children of Satan and the enemy of God. What the hell? During the period before God's creation of Adam, Satan interbred with the races of color to produce. According to Christian identity, the white race arrived on earth more skilled and sophisticated than any preceding race. It was agriculture as opposed to the others, which were either nomads or hunters. Only after God's creation of white race did civilization begin. Before the creation of the white race, God's influence was missing on earth and Satan roamed free. God created Adam and Eve to be the forebearers of a race to command all others and to be the instrument through which he, God, would fight Satan on earth. Jesus. Segregation of the races, therefore, is viewed by Christian identity as one of God's divine laws. And it says that race mixing is murder in the eyes of God. Christian identity contends that race mixing is a means by which Satan seeks to destroy the white race in the battle between good and evil. Christian identity and the U.S. Constitution. Christian identity contends that the Bible is the basis upon which the United States was founded. Shut up. This theory is in keeping with the view that the Bible contains God's laws for governing nations and governments. However, these laws are only meant for God's children, that is Israel. And this document is saying Israel is really the United States. Christian identity teaches that because the U.S. Constitution was taken directly from the Articles of Confederation, which is based upon God's law through the Bible, the Constitution is a divinely inspired document. Oh my God. Christian identity contends that Jews, sometimes called alien internationalists, what the F, have increasingly gained the control in the media industry and government in the United States. And then it talks about the Zionist Occupational Government, or ZOG. Moreover, this is part of a Jewish conspiracy to destroy the United States as a white Christian nation. Because of this increasing influence, Jewish interests have been responsible for the passing and or supporting of laws specifically designed to subvert the Constitution and change the United States from that of which it was originally intended to be. As a result of these acts, wars, deaths, and other Jewish conspired evils have befallen white Christians in the United States. Another aspect of Christian identity is its view of the end of the world and the second coming of Christ. Christian identity, to be sure, is not unique in its beliefs of this issue. Christians of many faiths believe that the world will eventually end. The last book of the Bible, the book of Revelations, or the Revelation of St. John the Divine, describes a period of great suffering known as the tribulations, the final segment of which is Armageddon, a great battle between the forces of good and evil that will precede the second coming. Is that what we're in? Oh, thanks for letting me know. Christian identity teaches that white Christians, as the chosen race of God, have a specific role to play in these events and that they must be physically and spiritually prepared. Christian identity views the events leading up to the second coming of Christ as inevitable. It is believed that these are part of the cleansing process that is needed before Christ establishes his kingdom on earth. During this, the forces of evil, non-whites and Jews, will attempt to destroy the force of God, whites, using any means. The result will be a violent and bloody struggle, a war in effect. The view of what Armageddon will be varies in Christian identity. Some contend it will be a race war in which millions will die. Others see it as an economic or social collapse that will lead to a communist attack or takeover led by the Jews as representatives of the Antichrist. Oh my God! Many of Christian identity believe that they are among those chosen by God to fight the forces of evil during Armageddon. These people contend that they will be the last line of defense to save the white race and or Christian Americans from either the soon to occur race war or communist takeover. To prepare for these events, these individuals engage in survivalist, paramilitary, and self-defense training. They practice weapon use and they store foodstuffs, ammunition, and other necessities of survival. They often reside in remote areas on isolated and enclosed compounds. The Christian identity message is one of racial hatred behind the guise of religion. The Aryan Nations Church of Jesus Christ Christian was an example, and apparently it's in Idaho. It talks about some of their activities, including bombing, murders, robberies, and weapons violations. All of these activities have been carried out in furtherance of white supremacy, the basis of which is contained in Christian identity. Another leading proponent of Christian identity was the late William Potter Gale of Mariposa County, California. He apparently was the person who coined the term Christian identity in approximately 1962. Gale was a major figure of the tax rebellion movement. Gale and members of a group committee of states were arrested in Arizona, California, and Nevada in October 1989 for making threats against the IRS agents. Gale and others were convicted on charges stemming from these threats in October 1987 and were sentenced to prison terms. There are, all total, relatively few Christian identity proponents in the United States. That's changed. Although exact numbers are not possible, there are probably less than 2,000 nationwide. That has changed, and possibly far fewer. Nevertheless, as the acts of terrorism committed by Christian identity followers attest, these people are fanatics about which they believe. Yeah.